here to put a spotlight on the importance of SNAP in meeting the nutritional needs of our community. And I especially want to thank Senator Reid for joining us to raise awareness about the terrible impacts the House Republicans' proposed cuts to SNAP would have on Rhode Island kids, seniors, and families. The food bank's network of 147 member agencies across the state are currently serving more than 89,000 people every month. That's a 62% increase since 2020, including an 8% increase in the last year alone. That is the highest number of people that we have ever served. I'll just pause to say that again. That is the highest number of people we've ever served. Our state is experiencing historic record need with higher rates of food insecurity than even during the height of the pandemic. Low-income Rhode Islanders are stretched to the limit. Housing and utility costs have increased, food costs remain high, and Trump's tariffs threaten to raise them even further. This will impact families' ability to purchase enough food in the grocery store and the food bank's ability to help supplement and fill these families' cupboards, as we currently purchase about 1/3 of the food we distribute from wholesalers and distributors. Over 144,000 Rhode Islanders currently rely on their monthly SNAP benefit. That's fine, yep, get it? Currently rely on their monthly SNAP benefit to feed their families, which on average is just $198 per month. That translates to a little more than $6 a day. Imagine trying to meet your food needs on $6 a day for a food budget. And now imagine fewer people being eligible for SNAP based on work requirements and other eligibility changes that are in the Republican bill. The impact that these changes will have on families, children, seniors, and veterans will be catastrophic. Kids will be less ready to learn in school, working adults won't have the energy to work, seniors will be forced to make terrible choices about whether to pay for prescriptions and health care or food, and veterans and people with disabilities will struggle to get the food they need to survive and thrive. This cut to SNAP would also be bad for the economy. A 25% cost share with the state could mean approximately $7 million fewer dollars being spent in local supermarkets and corner stores every month if the state can't make up the $85.5 million in lost funds, which would affect businesses large and small, costing jobs and further driving up the need. And there is no way for the food bank and its network of member agencies to make up for that loss of purchasing power in our community. We are projected to spend a total of $6 million on our food acquisition budget just this year. That's just the whole year, not 1 month. Rhode Islanders can't afford this cut, and neither can our most vulnerable neighbors. Thank you again, Senator Reid, for continuing to raise your voice against these disastrous cuts to SNAP. We are very grateful for your leadership, and please know that we stand with you on behalf of all Rhode Islanders.
Good morning. Well, I want to thank Lisa, not just for those kind words, but for her great leadership. And I want to thank you all, because you're the heart and soul of one of the most effective, efficient organizations in the country, the Rhode Island Food Bank. You move the food from where it's at to where it's needed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You and your partners are making a huge contribution to Rhode Island. And day in and day out, you are committed to providing food for those who need it, particularly children and seniors. So again, thank you. We're here today to reaffirm the importance of SNAP. And it's so important. It's important for public health. It's important for supporting communities and to, as Lisa said, to ensure that families don't go hungry. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, has come under attack by President Trump and his congressional Republicans in their so-called big, beautiful bill. It really should be called the Take from the Needy and Give to the Greedy bill, because that's exactly what it does. And everyone knows that SNAP is a proven program. It's a lifeline for more than 144,000 Rhode Islanders, particularly low-income families, particularly children and seniors. And when Republicans threaten to cut SNAP benefits, they're really threatening public health, working families, and our economy. It's hard for a student to learn in school if they're malnourished. It's hard for a worker to get up and go and spend 8 hours if they can't eat. It's hard for the whole state, not just those individuals who are specifically affected. Now, the current House bill proposes to cut $300 billion from SNAP, shrinking food assistance nationally by 30%. This means that low-income families and their kids, seniors, disabled Americans, and veterans will even have less money for food than they have now. And all at the time, as Lisa pointed out, that food scarcity is rising. More and more people are coming to the food bank. And more people, and you all noticed it, who were a few years ago, sort of working class Americans are coming here to get food. We have to do much more, and we have to stop this reckless and irresponsible destruction of the SNAP programs, because those cuts will go for the entire state and the entire nation. Every state, indeed, will be impacted by this irresponsible approach. It literally could take away food assistance from 7 million Americans and force states to come up with about $10 billion a year. Now, here in Rhode Island, 17,000 Rhode Islanders would likely lose their food assistance. And as Lisa said, $85 million would be forced upon the state to make up that deficit. And frankly, it can't be done, because the other parts of this bill, cuts to Medicaid, will force the state to step in. Cuts to education will force the state to step in. State leaders are going to be looking, as this goes through at the end of the year, at what do we say? Food for children, health care for everyone, education. We can't do that. That's why we have to stop this reckless approach that underestimates and discounts the important work you do that makes our economy function so well. We leverage our ocean state farmers. There's a lot of farm-to-table food that is going out. That's giving incentives for our small farmers to develop, to increase, to enlarge their efforts. It's part of our economy, and it's a part we want to develop. And again, it'll be affected by these cuts. We need to strengthen SNAP, not weaken it. We have to ensure that SNAP benefits are more robust and get to more deserving people. And together, I know we're going to continue this fight. We will continue to do our utmost to get food to Rhode Islanders who need it, and we'll never stop food assistance for our most vulnerable neighbors. We can't do anything less. I always sort of, when I come to this point in the effort, I spent 12 years in active duty in the United States Army, and saw a lot of my senior leaders at West Point go off to Vietnam, many never returned. I can tell you, none of them fought for a tax cut for the wealthiest Americans. But if you ask them why they're fighting, they probably said, well, getting food to kids, making sure they have a chance. That's America, and that's what they fought for, and that's what we're going to fight for. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Reid. My name is Kate Brewster, and I'm the CEO of the Johnny Cake Center for Hope, located in South Kingstown. Thank you for inviting me here today to share our deep concerns about the proposed cuts to SNAP, which are the largest in the history of the program and most dangerous cuts since the Johnny Cake Center began meeting the nutritional needs of our South County neighbors 50 years ago. Our food pantry, the Johnny Cake Market, provides healthy food to 2,000 local residents. Every month, an average of 15 new households come through our doors for the first time because they cannot afford to put enough food on the table to meet their family's needs. And that need continues to grow. Visits to our food pantry have increased by 80% over the past 2 years. This includes a 50% increase among children seeking hunger relief, especially during the summer months when schools are closed. The Johnny Cake Center is not alone. Nonprofit organizations across Rhode Island are experiencing record needs amidst soaring food, housing, and utility costs. The Johnny Cake Center's own food budget has risen by close to 30%. We remain committed to supplementing what we receive from the Rhode Island Community Food Bank to ensure we have enough fresh produce, proteins, and perishables for our rising number of visitors, because all Rhode Islanders deserve access to healthy food. As others have mentioned, the ripple effects of the proposed SNAP cuts will be devastating. Hungry children at school who cannot learn, families forced to make even tougher choices, and seniors forced to make decisions between eating and treating chronic disease. The health and well-being of children, seniors, veterans, and people with disabilities are at risk, and for what? To give more resources to those who need it the least. It is unconscionable and it is cruel. These are not just uncertain times, they are deeply disturbing times. I urge all Rhode Islanders to not only oppose these cuts, but also give what you can to the organizations on the front line fighting hunger, like the Rhode Island Community Food Bank. I want to thank Senator Reid for his leadership and our entire congressional delegation for standing up against cuts to programs that provide the most basic human needs for our fellow Rhode Islanders and all Americans. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Senator Reid, for doing this. I'm the Executive Director of Pete and Andy's Food Bank and the Center of Providence, the West Side. And we are 50 years old, well, actually 51 this year. This is the hardest year for us. It used to be that we had 150 families, and then it crept up to 180, and now every Saturday we're maxing out around 250 families. We have 1,000 children registered. These families depend on SNAP. And one of the changes that I've seen is that people used to come towards the end of the month, but now they're coming all through the month because groceries are so high, and SNAP helps. Think of what would happen if it wasn't there. Think about what would happen if they had no extra help to get groceries on the table. Our food bank serves mostly families, some seniors, once in a while the homeless, and mostly all from our area of Providence. The need is great, and it is unconscionable that we could be even putting forth a bill that we call one big beautiful bill that is out to slaughter a good part of our country. How do children learn without food? And like you said, Kate, how do the elderly make decisions between whether they're going to eat or whether they're going to take care of their chronic illness, or they're going to have heat in their house? Each and every week we see these people. I want to tell you, they're not these people, they're us. The thank yous that come through, the sense of saying, how can we help ourselves? The questions that are constantly asked. To be part of community, to be accepted and to belong. SNAP helps that. It gives that little bit of extra that they need to keep going and to know that there's a bigger thing than just them. Our country has always stood for inclusion. Every culture that comes in adds to the culture that's already here, and we become bigger and better, not less. I pray that this bill finds a grave somewhere, goes there, and stays there.